Hello everyone, my name is Austin Newcomb and this is my final video presentation for ARC 5013 Research Methods. The firm that I chose to study this semester is Williamson Williamson Architects out of Toronto, Ontario. The firm is led by Shane and Betsy Williamson. The firm is small with a team of 7 members. A majority of their work is on residential homes in the Greater Toronto area. However, they have also worked on everything from furniture design to urban planning. For the first portion of the assignment, I studied one of the rural residential projects that Williamson Williamson Architects designed. This project is known as the House on Fox Lake. One of the attributes that Shane and Betsy pride their firm in is client collaboration to develop the projects. With the client being of Korean descent, they wanted a residential design that related back to their family's cultural history. The firm chose to employ the precedent study of the traditional Korean Hanok-style home. They wanted to use the form and the central courtyard from Hanok architecture to create a contemporary version using timber construction. The key discourses evident in this case study are designing a contemporary modernist mindset influenced by historical typologies, the use of sustainable materials, and being able to control light and natural ventilation in the project. This is a look into what historical Hanok architecture looks like. The style that influenced the project the most is when the residence is built into a hillside looking down towards the lake below. The project utilizes wood construction, which I will be elaborating upon in later slides. The formal layout of the building allows light to penetrate through a centralized skylight that takes the place of a traditional courtyard due to climate conditions, and natural ventilation is plentiful thanks to operable windows placed on the southern lakeside of the property. Should the Hanok-style architecture be displaced from its original culture and placed within its new environment? Well, I believe it should, because the people in a given area create the city's culture, and by incorporating a historical typology, the neighborhood is ultimately becoming more diverse. Digitally fabricating milled designs into wood will be touched on in future slides, so I'll pass this one up for now. So what is important in design? Well, based on the study on Williamson Williamson, it is client-based collaboration, enhancing the typology of an area, utilizing important design concepts from past precedents, use of sustainable materiality, integrating the building with the site, designing site-specific architecture, and creating unique forms for more than aesthetic purposes. Alright, pass this one up. So for the second portion of the research, this focused upon the methods that the firm used to develop projects. So the firm has put forth an effort to study wood as a material and how it can be used and milled to create forms. This study was done to test the rings of a tree and what they can tell you about the site itself. From there, the firm created an installation of panels that come together as a series to capture light and shadows and tell a narrative through the patterns created. These are precedents not done by Williamson Williamson, but they each show different variations of how digital fabrication can be used in a subtractive milling process to achieve varying goals. This is a manufacturing process diagram of how cross-laminated timber is created, and the principals of Williamson Williamson happen to use CLT quite often, and they claim that it's the greatest thing to happen to architecture since concrete. Cross-laminated timber is a large-scale prefabricated, solid, engineered wood panel that is lightweight yet very strong. This material is a firm favorite. The firm originally chose to work primarily with wood because at first they designed and built the custom elements within their projects on their own, and ever since then they've stuck to wood for the primary material of the residences that they design. The additive fabrication process using wood fibers is a new technique that gives the appearance of wood along with the texture and smell. This process could be used for future furniture and millwork done by the firm. And then finally, the last portion of the study is on how a typology that the firm researched and tested and developed over the course of their various projects impacted the city of Toronto. So this precedent is of a dog trot typology, which is a traditional typology in the southern United States. And they did a research study on this of their own interpretation, which is on the right. This is their initial rendition of the dog trot typology, which goes on to inform their future projects. The benefits of this typology is that the firm has a strong interest in this typology already. It is a cost-effective solution to housing. The structure can be built relatively easily. Construction can be completed quickly. There are precedent studies of this typology all across the world. Natural daylighting can be achieved through skylights and large window panes. Natural ventilation is readily available through centralized breezeways and operable windows. It can be built using wood construction, which is the firm's preferred material, and the architect and client can collaborate to create a one-of-a-kind design. Alright, so their initial study stuck with the traditional form and breezeway and a focus on the structure, programming, daylighting, and materials that were used. Moving on, their next attempt looked at how the topography of the landscape could alter the form while creating public and private spaces of the residence. So if you look towards the upper right image, that shows the centralized breezeway that is the public living area in this residence. The first built example project caused concern because even though the structure seems to work harmoniously with the landscape, the construction of it actually took away from the nature of the site. As you can see from the images on the left, they really had to dig into the side of this hill to achieve the final construction of the project. However, this became a two-level version of the dog trot typology, with the breezeway being the main circulation spaces and framing views to the landscape. Shifting the focus over to the urban context from the rural, which is what they had been focusing on. they needed to work within the bounds of a city parcel in Toronto's neighborhoods. This forced them to build multiple stories while still keeping the main aspects from the typology. The human scale fabricated elements within each residence allows each interior to uniquely become its own. The breezeway has been incorporated into many of their projects and works both visually and functionally as an element of the buildings. The Bala Line House was created from learning about the strengths and weaknesses of all these past projects to highlight elements that worked well. And one of the key elements was the breezeway leading to the backyard, which frames views to the trees in the backyard and blocks out the neighbors' residences. And then finally, the incremental urbanism is a topic that Shane Williamson brought up in a couple of his lectures and relates to the idea of increasing density in urban neighborhoods to limit sprawl, utilize vacant or small lots, and promote walkability in the neighborhoods and create a unique neighborhood culture. Thank you for listening to my presentation.